What's up guys, DukeSloth here, and today things are a little bit different. As you can probably see, I am not at home, I am in Atlanta already, and we're getting towards HiRez. I'm extremely jet lagged, but I wanted to get this video out because HiRez decided to post a massive amount of Season 6 information on Reddit already, and we want to dig into that. I was actually planning to make a Fallout 76 video today, so that's going to be postponed to tomorrow. But today we're talking about this, and then Friday I expect another Smite video for more of the updates. But this one is already huge. There's a lot of different stuff that we will go through here. So let's begin. First, we're just going to read through the announcement part, and then we're going to go a little bit into the specific aspects, and we're also going to discuss them. Obviously with no gameplay footage this time, but with my face instead, because that's what I can do from here. Season 6 gameplay announcement. We have lofty goals for Season 6 Smite, especially on the competitive side. More info will be shared after HiRez, but I'm excited to drop the first sneak peek of Season 6 right now. Official at HiRez DreamHack Atlanta, details can be found here. Keep in mind that we are a few months out and have lots of playtesting and iteration to do. That means that things are subject to change, but we will do our best to stay true to the goals listed here. First, new gods. Friday we'll be teasing the entire Season 6 god lineup, naming the first few while hinting at others. We want the community to know that the identities of gods 99 and god 100 will be a bit of a surprise. There have been subtle clues in the game as to who they may be, but we did go extra length to keep their true identities a secret until HiRez. We hope the unique aspects will spark some huge discussions and attract more players to Smites from all walks of life. The gods immediately after that will be some of the most highly requested characters from the Smite community. These additions will return to the original pantheons of Smite, diving deep into the mythology that inspired the game's creation. We take feedback from our passionate players very seriously. Many decisions in Season 6, 5 and 6 have been influenced by these discussions. We can't thank you enough for helping us get to where we are today. A few gods at the end will not be named, but teased in visuals, theme or pantheon. In 2019, the Smite lore will unfold as these new characters are introduced to the battleground. Each god will have a purpose in the story and meaningful relationships with the gods that come after them. So there's already a lot of interesting stuff in this part alone. First of all, we have god 99 and 100 being a bit of a surprise. That again maybe hints a bit more in the direction of what was originally speculated towards Arthur or something, because that's something that doesn't really fit with what we had in Smite other than that so far. There is a speculation that it could be set in Horus that I'm not sure if it would really be considered that much of a surprise. The gods immediately after are supposed to be some of the most highly requested ones, and there is a very high likelihood of one of them being Jormungandr, if that's how you pronounce them, because HiRez Rio specifically said that he cannot pronounce the name of god originally 99 and then corrected himself to 101. So I think with that snake being in the Odyssey screen, it'll probably be god 101. But that still leaves us a bit in the open for god 99 and 100. We had the Joust map with the sword in the stone, but then it wasn't actually Excalibur, but rather this thing from Herc. And there's some discussion that there might be something on the new Domination map. Maybe the maps in themselves are hinting at something. Now, some people are speculating that it's a god that is controlled by 2 players as well, though I'm not sure about that one. I kind of doubt that one, because Heroes of the Storm has a god that is controlled by 2 characters, 2 players, a character that's controlled by 2 players. That's what I wanted to say. And it works better there because it's not WASD controls. I think, I imagine you could actually get motion sick if someone else was controlling your character for you constantly and you were just using abilities or something. So I'm not sure how that would effectively work out. But we'll see. Maybe that explains why gods 99 and 100 haven't been announced yet. Maybe they're kind of one thing in a way. We will find out very, very soon. It's definitely interesting that HiRez is now going the way, or Titan is going the way, of announcing the lineup for Season 6. So I've been long enough talking. Words, jet lag. I've been talking for a long time about how I think data mining is good for the game. How I think that releasing more information early on is something that is creating hype, making things more interesting, creating more speculation, and maybe even helping HiRez improve the gods based on the speculation, based on the feedback they're getting. And they've been doing that a little bit with Hera, for example, with the design, and I think with the god before already as well. Yeah, with Pili as well. So this is something we have seen. And on top of that, now we will know more about a lot of gods in the future. It takes away a bit of speculation, obviously, because we kind of know most of the gods until a certain point. But at the end, I think it's a cool decision. I think it's very nice to know what's coming. And, it still doesn't mean that you really know what's behind it. You know a character, but you don't know what the kit's going to be and how it's going to play and everything. But there are more news than just that. So let's move on to the next part. Season 5 Smite, by the numbers and referencing community feedback, has been the best season in Smite history for balance. I absolutely agree with that. I know there are some people that, have this kind of nostalgic feeling of the first seasons, but I think in terms of balance, we are generally in a very good place with the usual outliers, but that will always be the case. To preserve this, we plan to make less overall balance changes as we go through Season 6. We are looking to add fewer but more meaningful balance changes. The design and balance team will focus on specific design goals and ways to address them, and will avoid implementing change for the sake of change. We as a team want Smite to be the best in our genre for players to return to, easily allowing them to pick up and play their favorite gods with success. Now this is interesting, especially in terms of the goals. So far, HiRez has always been pushing the concept of making a lot of updates, a lot of balance changes to keep the game fresh, to keep people talking about the game, to keep people interested. And for me as a content creator, that's great because, with a lot of updates and a lot of changes to talk about, there's a lot of content to be made in that regard. And when that's less to be made for me. At the same time, I can absolutely see the approach of wanting to appeal to players that may have left the game at some point and return. Because I think Smite is a game that is not so much reaching out to new players, except for maybe on new platforms as it has with Xbox or with PS4 at some point, but more a game that is kind of bringing back people over and over. We see this even like all the way up to the pro scene, that a lot of people that, take a break for 1 year eventually come back to Smite and try it out again. And if your god has completely changed, it's obviously a bit harder to get back into it. If you play Freya now, she is just a very different character, even though some things are still the same. And, giving this kind of ease of coming back is nice, but then again, it means that it's going to be a lot harder to balance characters that just are overperforming for certain reasons that are in their kit in the current meta. Because, if you don't really want to change the kit, then what are you going to do? Number changes don't always help. So it's going to be interesting to see in what direction that develops, if that actually works out, if that's effective or not. But I think it's an interesting approach to take, at least for a while. If it doesn't work, they can still revert back to what it was before. And next, we have the Conquest map. The Conquest map will be receiving a few specific updates. The Season 5 map was a great success in balancing the snowball effect, fostering god and role diversity, and allowing for many different types of competitive strategies. The weaker aspects of the map seem to be late-game objectives, sieging enemy bases, and the solo lane. These will be our primary points of focus in the 6.1 update. First one is definitely borrowed from another game. Gold Fury will be updated to provide new and different bonuses as the game progresses. The objective will still provide gold, but we want to add other bonuses to make killing it more relevant in the mid to late game. And this is basically what happens in League of Legends. They actually, I think, took the gold away completely, and HiRez might actually end up doing this sooner or later as well, or at least reduce the gold, because if the Gold Fury gives enough of a bonus and she gives gold on top of that, she may just compete too much with the Fire Giant. Maybe she will just give gold in early game and give other stats later on. We'll see. But interesting approach. I like it. Makes the Gold Fury a bit more interesting and not just this thing you burn in late game for, some extra cash. Fire Giant will be updated to regain his lava pool attacks and provide a stronger buff from his enhanced state. This buff will aid in base sieging. Also, lava pools, I think, is very good. It just makes Fire Giant more interesting. It makes positioning more relevant. And right now, it's just honestly a bit too easy to tank. There's not much to do in that regard. Or to attack, rather, by the carries and everyone. And you can't really do much against the fireballs anyway, so you just soak them up and fight through them. But the fact that the buff will be better is more interesting, because this means that you will have to make sure that your team secures Fire Giant even more. If you don't have the secure, if your team messes up with the secure, then it can really turn games around now. Because it's a big problem right now that you can often hold at Phoenixes. You can hold for a long time against the incoming team, depending on who has the better comp for that. And even with Fire Giant, they may not be able to get through it. But if the Fire Giant buff gets increased significantly to have more Phoenix damage, for example, then that's something that's not the case. So mess up on Fire Giant, and even if your team is ahead, it can still turn around very quickly in a different way now. And, well, then we have the solo lane. A completely new type of objective will be added to solo lane. Okay. The objective reminds us a little bit of the mini elementals we once had. But the goal of this objective is to encourage early aggression, also like the elementals, and to give solo laners a new way to benefit their team that does not directly snowball their lane. And that is the interesting part. I think the problem with solo is that when solo is just solo and you just sit around, then passive playstyle is too rewarding. Guardian's Blessing is a thing. Guardians are played in solo because, why would you play anything else? They do more late game, and there's nothing else to do around solo. Okay, maybe blue buff, but whatever. Now, if you add another objective there, then the high aggression picks come out, and that was the case when elementals were still there, because you could get so ahead from them that you had to have someone who secures them. So, what do? You put an objective there that ideally doesn't promote snowball at all, maybe even like no gold, no XP, or very low values in that regard, but does something else. Something that makes it beneficial for the solo laner specifically, and not the jungler, to go there, because the jungler doesn't have the time to do it, and it would be too much out of its way. And then, so maybe even behind the Fire Giant, by the way, there's a little bit of room there. And that thing does something that can help you in the game without making you stronger in the lane specifically. Maybe it's like a team-wide mini buff. I don't know, the whole team gets a little bit more gold or something. I don't know, but I think it's an interesting approach, and I hope this is something that is carefully adjusted. It's very important here that they make sure that this is not something that leads to these overly fat solo lanes again, where they roll off solo and just farm everyone as if they were damage dealers at the same time because they just got so much solo farm, but rather something, that makes solo lane more interesting to play and not so passive. But there are more changes. There will also be out-of-game changes to improve the ranked experience. These changes have largely been driven by the community feedback and discussions with pro players. Ranked splits will be faster. Soft resetting every 2 months. There will be no more qualifying matches. Players will now start in bronze, but will be able to earn much more TP per game if their MMR is high and they win their matches, allowing very quick progress. This is actually a bit strange to me. I understand, okay, they're going back to the concept of starting in bronze, which we once upon a time had as well. And no more qualifiers because qualifiers are annoying. Okay, but then resetting every 2 months. So you literally only have 2 months to grind your way up out of bronze into wherever you want to be. That sounds hectic to me. I can see like one or the other, but both combined sounds very stressful. You really have to like stay on the grind and ranked at all times then if you want to, keep your placement halfway decent. And I think there's other games that do that. I think Overwatch does something like that. I'm not quite sure how exactly it works there, but it's interesting. Like, again, we have to see if it's something that's functioning, and if not, HiRez can always go back on this. But I'm not quite sure about the end goal with this one. There is some extra explanation though. for this that Ajax has explained in the comments basically, which is that it doesn't mean that everyone's elo is reset or MMR is reset to bronze. It's just your division, but your MMR stays, or it gets a soft reset, but not much of a reset. So if you had a high MMR before, then you're still playing against high MMR players, only that all of you will be in bronze at the beginning, and then you can grind up very quickly from there. It seems like it's honestly not that super different from qualifiers, because I am assuming if you get 10 very good games, you'd probably be almost where you normally would place after qualifiers anyways. But hey, at least there's a lot more going on in bronze right now. We will allow players to view their MMR, matchmaking rating, also known as ELO. It will be available in the Smite API for external sites. Players will not be able to look at their allies' or opponents' MMR, but will be able to track their own as they progress through ranked modes. This is very cool. I really, really like this. I really like the fact that we can finally see our MMR again. And again, yeah, we could see it at some point, more or less. And that we can know where we stand. I always find it annoying that you can't see your own MMR. I don't really care about others' MMR, but I think it's good to know, like, okay, where on a scale am I right now? Am I like an average player according to the matchmaking rating? Am I below average? Am I above average? And does that explain the matches I end up with? Like, if you're a below average player and you end up with below average players, then it's like, yeah, I can kind of see that, right? Okay, my rating is just too bad, so I end up with these players. Whereas if I'm a high rating player, then it would make less sense. So it's nice to have this extra insight to see how things are. And just also, I guess it's a bit of an ego boost in one way or another. I really hope this comes for casuals as well. So far, HiRez is like speculating about it. They're like considering it, but not really considering it. And I hope they will do that, because I just want to know, like, where do multiple years of Smite take you in terms of your performance, and not just rely on Smite Guru score, which at this point, especially for long-term players, is very off due to the fact that it resets every season, but your actual elo doesn't reset. And I'm not quite sure how they're going to make sure that you don't see your allies or opponents' MMR if it's available in the Smite API, because the Smite API rate means that it's like available for to be posted on a site. So how is it gonna prevent anyone from seeing other people's MMR? I don't really understand that. Maybe there's some way. Maybe you have to log in to verify it's your own MMR that you want to see on the website that uses the API, and only then you can access it, or I don't know, something like that. Whatever. We'll find out. But I like that we can see MMR. Masters leaderboards will be based on MMR, not TP. This means that the quality of your matches will be much higher than the quantity. Very much more. No. This means that the quality of your matches will matter much more than the quantity. Diamond and below leaderboards will still use the TP to rank players. Cool. I like that. Below Diamond TP means just, that's your way. Below Masters. It's your way to Masters. So whoever is closest to Masters is highest ranked. And then up there, it's like, it's not about who's been grinding in Masters the longest, or in Grandmasters. It doesn't even mention Grandmasters, actually. But rather, how good are you in that level of play? I think that's cool. One last announcement for Season 5 ranked grinders. The reward skin for earning 75 wins will be Gladiator Guan Yu. His horse will also be receiving the appropriate armor, although not currently pictured. The loading frame reward for 150 wins will be in a similar theme. We can click on that here and look at that, and that's what it looks like. And I think it looks really cool. I think this is a really cool design, like this Roman style, and I kind of regret not playing ranked at all this season. I was like, probably going to be for a god that I don't play anyways, and I just don't want to go through the grind. But looking at this now, I'm like, should have done it. And now I probably don't have time to do it. But oh well. That's the regret in hindsight. But it's really cool. So congrats to those of you who will get that one. I think this is probably one of the best Guan Yu skins. And the closing sentences here are: the entire Smite team is super excited for HiRez in Season 6, and we hope you are too. As we continue to work towards Smite's 6th season, continue to provide us feedback. Tomorrow, Titan Rio and Titan Isaiah will discuss Project Olympus and a new initiative, the Olympians, to gather community feedback and collaborate. Thanks. Alright, maybe I have to make a video on that tomorrow as well. I did not realize this part, actually. I missed that. That is it for this topic. I think those are generally very good news. Arena has not been talked about here. We know that Arena is also getting a complete redesign, so that's going to be interesting. Esports has not been talked about. There's going to be changes there too. So there's a lot that's left open, as well as obviously announcement of the gods and probably also the 6.1 patch notes, or I think at least, maybe, I'm not sure. I think there's going to be a lot of new information in various ways, at least, that we can look forward to. And I most certainly do. And with that, thank you guys very much for watching. I hope this was interesting, insightful, and I hope even in this slightly unusual format with my extreme jet lag / tiredness, it was bearable. And other than that, if you're new to the channel, feel free to click the sub button and the bell. It really helps me out. Hopefully I'll get out the Fallout video tomorrow as well. I'm really happy about that game's release as well and how it's been going so far. It's really cool to me, especially after it initially didn't seem like it's going to go that way. So yeah, exciting times. And now I'm excited to actually go to sleep. DukeSloth out.